Logitical Response.
Do you think the media acted inappropriately when they instantly dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation?
All the mistakes of the mainstream media and CNN in particular seem to magically all go in one direction.
What can we learn from that in ensuring that what we label as disinformation is truly disinformation and not reality?
Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
Okay, now this coming up is awesome. This kid's got some good logic going on here, because he sure did bust their... And see, this kind of shows you where arrogance can come into play. That's that whole... Your arrogance blinds you. Every news channel does this. A long time ago, you might not be able to say that. They seem to care more about getting ratings than journalism, and telling the truth, and getting the news out. Try to put a spin on everything to however they feel politically. I mean, kind of understandable, but if you're claiming to be unbiased and you're not, this happens.
Thank you for coming. My name is Christopher Phillips. I'm a first year at the college. My question's for Mr. Stelzer. You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation, but CNN is right up there with them. They pushed the Russian collusion hoax. They pushed the Jussie Smollett hoax. They smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist, and they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supremacist. And yes, they dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation. With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, is it time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative? All the mistakes of the mainstream media and CNN in particular seem to magically all go in one direction. Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
Too bad, it's time for lunch.
You have 30 seconds.
No, I mean, there's a clock that says 30 seconds, but I think my honest answer to you...
Yeah, it's funny when people say, I'm going to give you my honest answer, which tells the person that you just lied to them.
And I'll come over and talk in more detail after this, is that I think you're describing a different channel than the one that I watch.
Sure, I get that. It's a different TV channel. It's not really a TV channel, though, is it? It's perspective. If you refuse to see any negatives, I can see how you might think that.
But I understand that is a popular right-wing narrative about CNN.
It's funny he says popular right-wing narrative. I just wanted to interject really quick. This is editor me, not talking me. What? If it looked like I was saying that kind of weird and struggling to say it, it's because I was. It took forever to say right-wing narrative. Couldn't say it to save my life. Oh, sorry. Back to the video. I mean, is it a narrative if it's the truth? I guess it would be. I guess that's why they use that term so often, because narrative can be false or it can be true. Just another way they're trying to fool you.
I think it's important when we talk about shared reality and democracy, all these networks, all these news outlets have to defend democracy. And when they screw up, admit it. But when Benjamin Hall, the Fox correspondent, was wounded in Ukraine, the news crews at CNN and the New York Times stopped what they were doing, and they tried to help. They tried to help.
If you have to openly say, look, we're the good guys, when they got hurt, we went and helped them. That's what everybody should do. You don't get a cookie for doing something you should have done. It says a lot about your character if you have to point out your own good deeds.
Get out of the country, they tried to find the dead crew members. That's what news outlets do. That's how they actually do work together, to your question about sharing those kinds of connections and trust. We don't talk about it enough, though. We don't share that reality about how that happens.
Newsflash, everybody shares the same reality. Well, except for flat earthers. And CNN oh, I see what you do. Okay, I got you.
And with regards to the regime, I think you mean President Biden?
Well, him saying that about regime tells you he always puts a negative spin on it. You don't have to have a negative spin on it.
The last time I spoke with a Biden aide, we yelled at each other.
In an attempt to disprove the kid saying,
With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime,
he now says openly that he has anger management issues and is obviously bragging about not being able to have a conversation like an adult. I mean, what could you be talking about that would have you start yelling at a White House staff member? I think you're full of shit.
So that's the reality of the news business that people don't see, that people don't hear. They imagine that it's a situation that simply is not. But I think your question, it speaks to the failure of journalism to show our work and show the reality of how our profession operates. We have a lot of work to do, I think.
I would agree. Cleaning house takes a lot of work, especially when it looks clean to you and it's dirty as hell. Alright, this one here blows my mind. Watch.
I'm Daniel Schmidt. I'm a freshman at the University of Chicago. My question is for Ms. Applebaum. So in 2020, you wrote, "Those who live outside the Fox News bubble do not, of course, need to learn any of the stuff about Hunter Biden," referring to his laptop, of course. A poll later after that found that if voters knew about the content of the laptop, 16% of Joe Biden voters would have acted differently. Now, of course, we know a few weeks ago the New York Times confirmed that the content is real. Do you think the media acted inappropriately when they instantly dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation? And what can we learn from that in ensuring that what we label as disinformation is truly disinformation and not reality?
Tough questions from the kid, but watch what she says.
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant.
So revealing. Right. So, it's uninteresting that President's son had shady dealings with China, had shady dealings with Ukraine. It shows him smoking crack. It's got information about prostitutes that he paid for. It even shows where he paid some of Joe Biden's bills. None of that is very interesting, according to this lady, and you don't need to know none of that. Yeah, because it's boring. Right. Once again, their arrogance is blinding them. How can they see that that's not really messed up?
I mean, it's not whether it's disinformation or...
It's not whether it's disinformation. So you're admitting that you gave out disinformation. Wonderful.
I mean, I don't think the Hunter Biden's business relationships have anything to do with who should be president of the United States. So I don't find it to be interesting. I mean, that would be my problem with that as a major news story.
I guess that's why these journalists don't do these too often, because it shows just how deeply corrupt they are, unfortunately.